1970 WOCA.
WOCA.
All right, 5 minutes after 11 o'clock. Thank you for tuning in this Wednesday morning. Have you ever been in church, Robin? I'm asking you this, and I think I know the answer already, so forgive me for asking a rhetorical question. But, you're sitting in church sometimes, and you know how they ask for a prayer request? You have somebody who's sick who wants to be prayed for, and then people will just kind of shout out, yeah, pray for my Uncle Johnny, he's got a hernia, or something like that. Okay, everybody prays for Uncle Johnny, right? Well, pray for my little nephew. He's just 1 year old and he's got to go in for open heart surgery. You hear a gasp throughout the whole. Everybody, oh my God!
Yeah.
Right. Open heart surgery, Uncle Johnny, no big deal. Open heart surgery, 1 year old, big deal, right?
Yes.
Because the beginning of life, you don't expect that kind of thing. And at any age as a child, Dr. Kit Song is on the phone. Dr. Song is an orthopedic surgeon and a member of the American Academy of Orthopedic Surgeons Patient Safety Committee. He's going to tell us what we should know to ensure successful surgeries of our children. God forbid we ever need them. Good morning, Dr. Kit Song. Good morning, Doctor.
Good morning, Larry. Thank you for the opportunity to talk with you.
Oh, thank you. Where are you right now?
I'm in Los Angeles.
Well, thank you for getting up early. I can't rub it in. You got good weather there, too. I was going to rub in that we've got great weather here.
I think we can better you a little bit.
Yeah, you might be able to, actually. Yeah, I love L.A., by the way. And not the Randy Newman. I like the Randy Newman song, too.
Yeah.
All right, so this is a hard topic. What do we need to know if our child, any child, I mean, I'm guessing you would be all over the doctor. Every doctor must get a million questions over and over and over again.
Well, Larry, we do. And, it's an important piece because, first of all, I'm a pediatric orthopedic surgeon, so I do take care of just exclusively children. And I think that for many pediatric conditions, there's increasing recognition that kids are not just little adults, that there is value in having pediatric specialty areas take care of your child, especially when they're very young, because many of the conditions are quite unique and fairly rare. And so experience counts, where you want to be at a center where the surgeon, but not only the surgeon, but the team that the surgeon works with, the institution, has experience in managing that condition, because many adverse outcomes are not related to the surgeon specifically, but it's to process errors and management errors that occur in the team around that child. So you really want to seek out not just the surgeon, but also the institution for their expertise.
And so do the questions that you ask, do the questions that a parent asks actually make any difference, or is it just to give some kind of hope for the parent or some kind of comfort to the parent?
Well, at the end of the day, we practice a lot of what we call shared decision-making. So the decisions about where your child's going to be treated oftentimes are the parent's choice. And the good news in the United States is that there are many centers now that take care of children and do it very well. In Orlando, I think you actually have several. You have 3 different children's hospitals down there. So it is important to seek out information to make sure that the fit is right, that as a parent you're getting your questions answered. And I think if there's any message I would say to your listeners, is be empowered to ask questions and to demand answers, because increasingly in healthcare, that's an important part of this.
Do the answers I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but do the answers that we get give us the information that might get us to come back at you, the doctor, and say, you know what, I don't want you to do that? And might we be like the instantly educated, we're not, we don't really know. It's like going online and thinking but you really don't.
Sure. No, it's a great question, and I think some of it varies depending on whether it's an elective procedure, an elective condition where you have some time to research it, versus an urgent or emergent condition where you really are at the mercy of the institution that you are taken to, and you have to kind of deal with it there. In either situation, you can ask questions, and I think there are questions around what the goals and objectives for the surgeon are, and do they match what you as a parent want for your child. There are going to be questions around how is pain going to be managed, how is the anesthesia going to be managed, and do I have a pediatric anesthesiologist? sometimes you'll be in a situation where you don't have access to that because by emergency processes you've been taken to a place that doesn't have that. And if your child's stable, you could always ask, if you don't have that, could I be transferred to a place that does? And I think these are fair things.
And the parents have to be the strong ones for the child. They can't let their fears show. They have to make sure that they're all sunshine and not negativity.
Well, it's okay, I think, because kids do understand that it's a fearful situation for everybody. I think they just have to have, and my experience has been that as long as children have confidence that the parents are asking questions on their behalf and they're getting answers, even if fear is there, it's okay to show that. You don't have to be the strong pillar of strength, but you have to be sure that you are a proponent for your child. And children pick up on that very well, even if they're 2 or 3 years of age.
Do you know, I met a young woman. Robin and I donate to an organization called the Children's Craniofacial Association. And
okay.
I'm sure you're familiar with what that is. That these are for those who don't know, these are the children who've had some kind of you call it a birth defect, where their face is extremely deformed in some, well, not always extremely, but in this one case it was. So I met this young woman at a picnic for their organization, and her was it a little girl, Robin?
Yes.
Her little girl died.
Yes.
And when I saw a video of the little girl playing and trying to learn how to speak, and if you could just picture her face, she had basically no nose, and the fleshy part of the middle between her eyes was huge. Her eyes were much farther apart than they would normally be. Anyway, what I wanted to tell you is that the young woman who is the mother of that child, who is no longer with us, had only good things to say about the doctor, even though the child died in surgery. Mm-hmm. I mean, she had wonderful things to say. You know what I mean? It struck me as, wow, you would think that she'd be upset with the doctors, but she understood the big challenge that they faced with this particular procedure.
Right. Mm-hmm. Right.
Yeah, and maybe
that's a nice example.
And maybe I just think maybe because she understood, maybe that communication you're talking about. Otherwise, she might not have been so complimentary.
Yeah, I think that's an important point to hit upon, because it is really the unknown or unanticipated that is the most fearful for families. And even in a condition like that, that's a very rare condition, because I treat some of those as well, not that particular condition, but very rare conditions where that there is very high risk and there is potentially some very, very bad outcomes. But that's a conversation that you should ask of your surgeon ahead of time. And most surgeons who have experience will be able to share with you, here's what could happen, here's how we'll try to avoid it, but you need to understand that we have these possible outcomes that may happen. And it's that preparation ahead of time that really alleviates a lot of the anxiety. And it's anxiety for the child, too. You don't want to scare children, but children do understand the seriousness of this. They understand that they're going to be in pain, but they want to know how it's going to be managed, and they want to know how the recovery is going to go. So the more questions you can ask about that, the better the care team can lay that out for you. I think you're exactly right. That's the communication stream you have to have no matter what the outcome is.
And you as a doctor and your team are so accessible prior to the surgery and afterwards that is the saving grace there, both for the patient and the family.
Oh, we absolutely try very hard to do that. There are many means of communication now. There's a lot of concerns around HIPAA and making sure we protect patient confidentiality, but access through patient portals, through emails, through other means are very available, and I think that the industry is becoming very comfortable with that as time goes on.
I love the way you talk, by the way. I don't know if anybody's ever complimented you on that. I mean, if I were a parent, just your voice alone, I don't know. It's crazy for me to say that, isn't it? But you've got a comforting way of speaking.
It's a compliment coming from a radio talk show host. So.
Yeah. Well, sometimes we yell. Sometimes.
Yeah.
It depends. It depends. All right. So I don't want to leave the listeners hanging, because I don't think there's a book to promote to them. But is there a website they can go to?
Well, for my specialty area, which is orthopedics, I think the American Academy of Orthopedic Surgeons has invested a lot of time and effort to try to put education materials out there. So www.orthoinfo.org is a good access point for information. My specialty society, which is the Pediatric Orthopedic Society of North America, that's POSNA.org, has great information about pediatric conditions that may be musculoskeletal in nature. And so that's another good resource. And I think for families, really all of the specialty societies around specific conditions, if you search under those, you'll find good information now online that can help you to bring questions to your doctor.
Doctor, thank you for getting up early out on the West Coast. See, I'm jealous of him now. I always try to make people jealous of me. I just when I was in LA, I fell in love with it and always want to go back. Dr. Kit Song, what a great interview. If you celebrate the holidays, Christmas, Hanukkah, whatever you celebrate, have a good one. And if you don't, then just have a good day.
I appreciate that, and you have a great holiday season as well.
All right, thank you. That was good information. Thank you for sharing it with us. We'll be right back.
The weather is brought to you by myfwc.com. Safe boating, there's no accident. For today, turning out partly sunny with a high of 69 to 73. It'll be mainly clear tonight with a low of 39 in the coldest inland spots to 48 on the coast. There'll be some fog patches late tonight into tomorrow morning. Otherwise, mostly sunny tomorrow with a high 67 to 71. On Friday, a nice day with a mix of sun and clouds, high 70 to 74. From the Florida Weather Center.